Hey guys, back for round number 2 on a Monday evening. So this is going to be an advanced flexibility and stretching session. Give folks just a minute or so to hop on here. So again, this is an advanced stretch flexibility session. I'm gonna go 20, 30 minutes, whatever you guys want. And again, this video will be recorded and will be available later. You don't need to have any equipment at all, but the couple of things that I'm going to use tonight as extra props are a couple of yoga blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks, you can use like a couple of throw pillows stacked on top of each other. That's great. Or you can just do without them and use them maybe next time you do this workout. I'm also going to use a medium weight resistance band. Again, you don't need to have a resistance band with you tonight to do this workout, but it's something that you might want to use next time. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. This is going to be, on the floor, on the mat, and it's predominantly going to focus. Gipper's showing off his killer flexibility back there. It's predominantly going to focus on opening up our hips and working on those that flexibility out of our hips within our legs, as well as just a little bit of lower back, but predominantly hips and leg flexibility today. So we will go ahead, get rolling, and if anybody has any questions while we're going, drop something in the chat. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and get rolling. All right. So we want to get warmed up a little bit first because our muscles are going to be much more flexible when they're warm. So again, since we're focusing on those hips and those upper legs, I want you to go ahead from a seated position, place those palms flat on the floor. We're just going to lift and lower, lift and lower. So squeezing those lower abdominals, but we're going to get some momentum and build up some heat in those hips, those hip flexors. So we're just going to lift and lower. Again, we're predominantly trying to get those hip flexors warmed up. All right, so we're going to rotate now. We're going to lift and then open. Lift together, lift, open. So getting a little heat in those inner thighs, as well as those hip flexors. Lift, open. Frog legs is what we call these. Lift and open. Lift and open. We've got for 8, 7, 6, 5. Gipper's bored already. Nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead straight into a pike stretch. We're going to lift straight up, deep inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Reach as forward as you can, past those toes if possible. What I want you to think about is a straight shoulder to our hips. So we're not hunching over and reaching like this. We're trying to flatten our torso onto those legs. So reach, 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 reach. This should just be your first stretch. This is obviously just a warm-up stretch. We're going to be able to reach down much further here in a little bit. So hold this one for about 20 seconds here. Inhale and exhale. Nice. So now our basic hip opener stretch is to bring those feet together, bottoms of those feet together. Exhale, shoulders down, chest out. I don't want you to press those knees down. Just let them fall out to the side and sit forward. Again, this is just a warm-up stretch, so we're not trying to pull anything crazy here, but we want to keep our shoulders and our hips in a nice straight line. And if you need a deeper stretch, particularly if you're already pretty flexible and you need a deeper stretch for a warm-up, you can start to lean forward. Again, leaning that chest forward towards the ground and keeping ourselves in a nice straight line. We don't want to hunch over. If we're in a nice straight line, we're opening up those hips, stretching out those inner thighs, because as our body comes forward, we're using our body weight to stretch those hip flexors, open those even a little bit more. Nice deep breath here. Hold this for a few more seconds. All right, let's go ahead, both feet out. I'm gonna turn this at a little bit more of an angle. Go ahead, lay flat on our back. Once you go ahead, take that right knee, pull it into your chest. Go ahead, and I want you to keep that knee, turn to my side as much as I can. Keep that knee down towards your chest and move here from this ball position. My left leg is still out. And try and straighten the top of that leg. For some of you, this is probably going to be really easy. For others, this might be more of a challenge because we're really getting into that hamstring here. And in this position, I want you to flex and point. Flex and point. Flex and point. So the flex and point is working those calf muscles a little bit while our hands are still pulling down into that hamstring, into the hip flexor. Holding it here for a few more seconds. All right, I want you to go back into that nice tight ball. And now go ahead and let that hip slide all the way out. So if you're watching from the base, this leg, this knee is going out straight to the side. Left leg is down. So again, for most of you, this will probably be fairly simple. For some of you, this may be a little more difficult. Now we're going to extend this. Go ahead, bring that foot up. So we're trying to make a right angle here with our knee. Nice right angle, beautiful. You can keep that opposite arm straight out in a T position so we keep ourselves balanced. The goal with doing regular stretching is not to try and go max, your furthest stretch as far as you can go right away at the beginning. It's doing some of these smaller stretches that are going to really warm up your muscles, get them ready to stretch out further. That will help us prevent injury from stretching too far too fast, right? So we really want to warm up those muscles. All right. Now, this time, let's go ahead and take that leg full extension. We're going with that leg straight up, nice straight leg. Note that I'm pointing my foot. You're going to feel a significant difference between a pointed foot and a flexed foot with this exercise. So we're going to start with a pointed foot and go ahead and just bring it straight back. Some of you may be able to reach it all the way back. Some people might be here. It's totally whatever's comfortable for you today. Again, we're not trying to go max distance right now. We're trying to do something that's going to be sustainable that we can do on a regular basis to increase our flexibility and decrease our likelihood of injuring our muscles or overstretching our muscles, pulling muscles, tearing muscles. We don't want to do any of that. So when your foot is back and you feel a nice pull and a stretch in that hamstring, I now want you to start alternating between pointing and flexing that foot. You're going to notice a big difference when you do that hard flex. It's going to pull that hamstring even more. Point, hard flex. Point, hard flex. Point, hard flex. Point, hard flex. Keep going back and forth. A few more of these. Woo! All right, let's go ahead. Foot inside or hand inside of that heel. And we're going to go ahead and open it out into a wide open heel stretch, basically. It's bring that foot out. Hold this. We want to make sure that base foot is down. Especially for my dancers, go ahead and make sure you're pointing that foot that's up and out. All right, go ahead, bring it in. Woo! We're going to switch. Bring that left knee into our chest. All right, keep that knee down. We're moving into where we've got a nice right angle curve here. Nice right angle curve. Right angle corner. I can't talk today. Couldn't talk in the last class, can't talk in this one. All right, you can go ahead, alternate between pointing and flexing. Again, we want to keep that knee at a right angle. All right, and pulling it out to the side. So really this should kind of look like a little T. So we're down and then we're going straight out from our hip, straight out to the side. Right angle curve, that knee, bring that foot up. This is the problem when I lay on the ground. Gipper thinks it's time for snuggles. Gipper thinks it's time for snuggles. Okay, go ahead, extend that leg straight up, and go ahead, pulling it back gently. Nice and straight. Alternate between a point and a hard flex. Point, flex. And when I say hard flex, I mean really pulling those toes down towards your face and shoving that heel up towards the ceiling. Down and hard flex. Point, hard flex. Point, hard flex. Can you point and flex your toes, Gip? Do you know how? No? That's okay. That's okay. We'll learn that trick later. Point, hard flex, point, hard flex, point, hard flex, point, hard flex. Go ahead, point, hand inside that heel, and go ahead and let it come straight out. And hold. Multitasking here. All right. Now, we're going to repeat that earlier hip opener. This should feel a lot more comfortable. You should be able, after those exercises, to go way further forward. So go ahead, pull the bottoms of those feet together, and come forward. Again, I want you to think about bringing the center of that chest down to the ground and really reaching forward, keeping that back nice and flat. Nice job, guys. Go ahead and hold it here. Should feel really good opening those hips. Go ahead, pike stretch. This time, lift all the way up. Inhale, exhale, forward fold. So what I want you to think about when you're doing these stretches, I want you to think about inhale, close your eyes. Think about that air going to that spot in those, particularly for this exercise, in those hamstrings where you're feeling a pull. So inhale, think about all that air going to where you're feeling the pull. And on that exhale, allowing yourself to come just a little bit deeper into the stretch. And when I say a little bit deeper, I'm talking like a centimeter deeper, okay? I'm not talking like drop all the way down flat into a stretch, right? Inhale, feel that fresh air going to where you feel the tension. Exhale that tension out. Allow yourself to sink just a little bit deeper. Inhale, exhale. Nice job, guys. All right. We're going to work our way into a split. This is where we can be using these blocks. Again, if you don't have blocks today, no worries. It's just something you might want to use later. So I'll show you a couple different variations of this. So if you already have a split flat, you'll be able to skip a couple of these steps. If your splits are not flat, these are a couple exercises you can go ahead and start. So whichever, you can start whichever leg, whichever side you need to work on. Have that front leg out. Go ahead, place that heel on the block. Again, if you don't have a block, you can put like 2 or 3 throw pillows on top of each other. Something that'll elevate your foot up off the ground and won't let you sink all the way down into it. All right, this elevation is what's really going to help us get a nice deep stretch into that hamstring. So go ahead, start on that knee. That foot we're working on, go ahead, point those toes nice and pretty, and lean forward. Again, I'm not hunching over forward. My shoulders and my hips are nicely aligned. Nice deep breaths. If you already have flat splits and this isn't really doing a stretch for you, you can add a second block. Ooh, I cannot fall over. And really sit down deeper. Sit that butt down deeper. Where our leg is up. So you can see underneath right here with that second block, with me sitting my butt down, this leg is really nice and flat. But I'm going to go back for our people who are like kind of flexible, but not crazy flexible already. All right, go ahead and remove your block. See where we are with our split. So if you need to hold up, if you're not fully in a split yet, you can take that block. You can put that block under that thigh. It'll help to support you. What we want to make sure we're doing with our split is keeping that knee, that thigh, the top of our back foot down. So whether we're flat in our split or we're doing our modified split using our block, we can go ahead and continue that forward stretch. Continue flexing. Wow, definitely don't flex. Point that front foot. Or again, if you already have a nice flat split, you can hold it down. Give me a break. I'm 30 and I'm almost on the floor again. If you're crazy flexible and that flat split doesn't even hurt, this is where we're going to bring those bricks back in. And we're going to go into our split with our front foot elevated onto that brick. I'm not going to shove myself all the way down, but you can let yourself go all the way down with that front foot up on that brick. All right. So what I'm going to do, so I'm nice and stretched on both sides, is switch to my other foot. So heel up here on the brick, nice flat back, nice stretch. So we're gonna do this, and then we'll go into our middle splits, and then that'll be a wrap for today's advanced stretching. Remember, you can always add the second brick in if you want to elevate that foot even more. All right, as we go into our split, if you need that support, you can put that brick down underneath that front leg. But make sure we've got a nice form. Our leg, our knee, our foot all facing the ground. Our front foot is nice and pointed. So if we're here, we want to come into our stretch, reaching forward. If you don't need that brick, you can slide down and be forward. Beautiful. Center splits. I'm going to be honest that some people's hips may just not be made to have those center splits all the way flat. That being said, if you practice these moves, you can definitely come lower in that middle center split. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to have my bricks. They're going to be supporting me here. I'm going to start with just a very wide straddle all the way up. But what I'm already doing in this high, wide straddle is getting into a good form for my splits, which means that my lower legs, my side of my knee, my inner thighs are pointing flat towards the ground. Now, depending on what you're comfortable with, you're going to slowly allow yourself to come down a little bit further. For some of you, here might be where you are. For some of you, it's going to be a lot further, okay? So what you need to think about is allowing yourself to come down a few inches further. What's going to be important, especially for those of you who don't have those center splits all the way flat, use an exercise mat, use a yoga mat, where your feet aren't going to slide out from under you, because then you can keep control of how wide your straddle is. So as you start to get a little bit lower, you can switch and put those elbows onto our blocks. As you come down closer to the middle, make sure you can roll those feet out and point. Always keeping, for lack of a better word, your total center straight down flat. So we're keeping those inner thighs flat down to the ground, reaching those toes all the way out. Now, another way to work on those center splits is coming into a straddle and using these blocks to lean forward just a little bit more. How about you? Kipper's working on his splits. Banana splits. And then slowly allowing yourself to roll forward. Just like in those right and left splits, if you need some additional support, if you're getting close to the ground but not quite there, you can always use these blocks under those hips. So what this might look like, sorry, try and get out of the way of dog obscuring the scene here. So what this might look like is we're coming out into those splits, but we're supporting ourselves with these blocks so that we can get a nice deep stretch here without straining too far, all right? So if you're not quite down into the middle, using those blocks right on the inside of those thighs to really support yourself. Again, and then coming down onto those elbows and laying out forward, always pointing those toes. And we have definitely gone over our 20-minute time, but thank you guys for joining me today. And I hope that some of these stretching exercises help you, that you can do these a little more often, and particularly for my dancers, get those splits flatter to the floor, or if you're working on those heel stretches or those extensions, being able to open up those hips and get that leg up there even higher. So we're going to still have 2 more live stream classes this week, Thursday at 5:30 p.m. on Zoom. So it's not here on YouTube, it's on Zoom. We're doing cardio hip hop. If you're a NIFS member, there will be the link on the NIFS page, on the NIFS Facebook page, as well as on my Facebook page, on my Instagram account. Otherwise, reach out directly to me via the Instagram account or on here, whatever you want to do. I'll get you the link for that if you want to join. And then a very beginner level stretch class back here, YouTube Live, Friday at noon. And we will work on very basic stretches for everyday range of motion. Thank you guys for joining, and have a wonderful rest of your Monday.